Hey guys, today we're going to do a video basically on two subjects. One, how to teach yourself guitar, and two, how to find a good instructor. We'll start with teaching yourself guitar. Now I don't care if you've been playing guitar for a couple weeks or a month or a year or a couple years, or you come back to whatever, a hiatus. There's an effect that we call the Swiss cheese effect. It basically means that you have pieces of information, you know things, you know a little bit of this chord, a little bit of these scales, you know a little bit of this theory, you know a little bit of all this stuff, and none of it comes together. And it gets really hard for an instructor to kind of get you and put all this back together because you've been just jumping everywhere. And the jumping comes from not having a plan. So, if you're going to teach yourself guitar, the first thing that's important is have a plan. So how do you make a plan? Well, simple. What I want you to do if you're going to teach yourself is teach yourself to play a musical instrument like you would teach yourself to cook. First decide what kind of food would you like to eat. In other words, what kind of music do you want to listen to or play? What do you want to hear? Remember, you're the audience. What you're playing is what you enjoy, right? You're one and the same. You're the artist and the audience in the room. So you want to pick things that your audience, you, wants to hear. So you have to pick a style of music. Now the reason that's important is I'm not telling you to just sit there and learn songs. That's exactly the opposite. The reason is this. Take a food for instance. Let's say you like Mexican food. If you like Mexican food, what you'll realize is that a lot of the food is redundant. A taco and an enchilada and a burrito all have the same ingredients. Some beef, some cheese, some lettuce, right? Corn tortillas, right? Even though they're prepared differently, they become the same. It's important to stick with a style of music and learn a style of music that you enjoy if you're teaching yourself, because you want to learn all of the things that the ingredients of that music. If there's a G, a D, a C chord in there and an E minor, that's a real common chord progression. Now you learn that chord progression, then you need to find other songs in the music you like that have those chord progressions and start building on that. Start building, right? Like I said, be part of the plan. To sit there and build each time you play. The second thing you have to make sure you do is have fun. Here's the thing, if you're not having fun, there's no point to this. Now, if you're going to teach yourself, the other thing I want you to be understanding of is that eventually you're going to need a tutor, okay? If you're learning any subject, I don't care what it is, eventually you get to a point where you need a tutor. So, thinking of tutors. Now, when you're going to pick a guitar instructor finally, because you will, right? Think of this, you'll pick a guitar instructor because you succeed, not because you fail. At some point, you hit a point where you've taught yourself a good amount and you need to learn a little bit more, right? You need to find an instructor. Now, what you want to find, if that's your plan, if you're teaching yourself, is to find a good tutor, okay? You need an instructor that has a skill set that can identify with what is your plan is, right? Your original plan. You need to tell him your plan or her, your plan, and what you've been doing. And then you want them to tell you what their plan is to go ahead and continue your success, okay? And the reason that's important is this. If I walked up to an instructor and said, hey look, I have been learning all my chords, I've been playing these songs, I really like country music, and I've gotten this part, but I'm kind of stuck now with some of the changes, or I don't understand these modes, or I don't understand this, you know, this is where I'm stuck. I'd want to hear, even with novice, I'd want to hear his or her plan to say, okay, well, you know, here's what I've found in the past worked for me to get a student past that. Here's what we're going to do, and let's do that. In fact, every time you hire an instructor, if you're not hiring it from a credible place where the place is going to be able to vouch for the instructor and move you to a different instructor if they don't perform. Now, if you're going one-on-one, in other words, you're finding a teacher in the paper or just an instructor who's in charge of themselves, well, they're not going to have that kind of warranty or policy. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't go with them. It just means you're going to have to do a little bit of an interview process first. In other words, hey, what is your experience? Don't focus on, well, they once played with this famous guy for 5 seconds. That doesn't mean anything, okay? What I can tell you is this. Hiring teachers over a decade, work ethic has nothing to do with how famous they were for 5 seconds. It doesn't matter how good they can play if they can't get a great work ethic. You want a teacher who's always there, who's never late, who's motivated, who's happier to see you than you are to see them. And Most importantly, someone who, like I said, can build and design a plan for you to get you going so you're not just burning cash as fast as you can while they try to figure out what you're going to do. The last thing I want to talk about is when people say, well, but you don't need lessons, right? You don't need to do that. You can just teach yourself. It's a waste of money. It might be for some people. There's nothing wrong with that. The one answer I have, there's one magic answer. I know that's always what people are looking for, the magic answer, right? Here's what I learned from years and years of watching thousands of students who everything from got scholarships to colleges to amazing players to who quit. And the truth is, it doesn't matter if you use a book or a DVD or videos, computers or stickers or a guitar teacher or a lesson academy or a class. It doesn't matter what you do. It just matters that it motivates you. That's all. Not that you learn from it. That's important, but it motivates you. If you understand that the only way you get better is practicing. Whatever gets you to practice, whatever that is, that motivation, if it's the idea that I might disappoint my instructor, so I'm going to practice. If it's the idea that I just enjoy spending time with my instructor, and I practice. If it's the idea that I'm really enjoying this book and it's just something to do after work to unstress me out, that is a success. That book will be just as successful as a teacher. Is it a video personality on YouTube and I just really like the guy and he's funny or he's sarcastic or whatever it is, or I like the way he demonstrates guitars and it motivates me. And then the question is, the reason I tell you that is because a lot of people, when they're going down a path that's right, they start questioning and going, well, I'm doing good. Should I go to an instructor? Should I stop coming to an instructor because I've been coming for a while? Should I do this? And the truth is this, like I said, if it motivates you to play your instrument, it's working. And I'll leave you with this. I have a student, his name's Clark, and he's in college now. And what's funny about Clark was he went to lessons and he never practiced. And his teacher, which is a very great teacher, was a little frustrated because he's like, man, this kid just doesn't practice. I've tried everything, right? Stickers and happiness and whatever you can do to motivate a kid to practice. Kid doesn't practice. But the kid comes every week. And so what happens is the parents made the decision that he can't come anymore because he doesn't practice after 2 years. He was coming for 2 years. That's a long time. And so the kid was gone for about 4 or 5 months. And then he came back in the shop. And what happened was he told us that he wants to pay he gets allowance from his parents and his grandmother's willing to give him $20 a month. And he was up to some amount, I forgot what. And he goes, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get lessons again. He goes, but I'm close. And so I said, oh, you want to come to lessons again? And he said, yeah. He goes, I'm almost close. And I said, so I talked to the instructor. And the instructor said, yeah, he'll take a discount. We took a discount, and he came back on with his own money. And we let him take the lessons at a discount because he was using his own money, his actual earned money, right? His allowance. He actually did stuff at the house, took out trash and stuff. The reason why the story is important is this is what happened. His parents, when I talked to them, I go, yeah, I'm shocked he's back. And they go, yeah, I don't get it either. Then what happened I'm not kidding, 4 years later. So, right, we're talking almost 6 years. 4 years later, the kid's still coming to lessons, paying with his own money, never practices. Never, right? And for a long time when he played, I'd see him play, it wasn't very good. And then all of a sudden it was pretty good, right? When he left, he was pretty good. And what I finally found out was he actually was going to be an Olympic swimmer, and he was swimming something like 4 hours a day every day, 6 days a week, straight A student. And what it was is he didn't want to practice. He didn't want more work. He just wanted to go somewhere and do something outside of his head from the other stuff. And that's what guitar was for him. So that long, boring story was to tell you that, hey, I've seen every way that it works, is basically. So that's all I wanted to say. Well, as always, guys, I want to thank you for your time. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this or be alerted when they're coming out. I plan to start making more, even more and more. So try to get the 3-4 a week. We'll see how that goes. And hit the like button if you like the videos. Hit the dislike button Hit the dislike button if you dislike the videos, because I can take it. And as always, thank you for your time and know your gear.